Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Time with PK. Today, we're exploring post-installation scripts on OVH Public Cloud instances. Let's take a simple example. We want to set up a web server using Nginx, and also change the default SSH port to 2211. In a traditional setup, we'd create a server from the OVH console. Once it's ready, we'd SSH into the server, update the SSH configuration to use port 2211. Then we'd install Nginx, configure a basic web page, and only then, our server is good to go. Now, let's say we're managing multiple servers, and we want to apply the same setup on all of them. SSH into each server one by one to repeat the same steps, like changing the SSH port or installing Nginx, quickly becomes time-consuming and inefficient. To solve this problem, OVH offers a powerful feature called post-installation scripts. With post-install scripts, you can automate tasks like installing packages, creating users, configuring security settings, or setting up a custom environment right at the time the server is created. You can use the same script to create multiple servers, and each of them will be fully configured and ready to use the moment they're deployed. No manual steps, no repetitive setup, just fast, consistent provisioning across all your instances. Now, let's head over to the OVH Cloud console and try out our setup. We will create two instances with the post-installation script. From the left side menu, click on Instances, and then hit the Create an Instance button to start the instance creation process. I'm choosing the D2-2 from the Discovery series as the server model. For location, I'll go with the deployment mode, 1AZ region, and pick London as the region. Then, I'll select Ubuntu 24.04 as the image. I will use my existing SSH key for secure access. For the instance name, I'm entering Test Server. I'll set the count to 2, since we're creating 2 servers in this demo. Now comes the main part, the post-installation script. To add it, click on Add. You'll see a text box appear where you can paste your shell script. This script will run automatically right after the server is created. I've already prepared a shell script, so let's take a look. For post-installation, you can use either a shell script or a Cloud init script. In this demo, I'm using a shell script. Here's what the script does. First, it changes the SSH port from 22 to 2211. Then, it updates the package repository and installs the Nginx web server. After that, it replaces the word Nginx on the default web page with the server's hostname. And finally, it restarts the SSH service to apply the changes. This way, your server is configured and ready as soon as it boots up. Now, let's copy the script and go back to the OVH Cloud console. We'll paste it into the post-installation script text box. Then, click Next to continue with the setup. For the network configuration, I'm choosing public mode, since we'll be using the public IP to test this setup. For the billing configuration, I'm selecting hourly billing. Then, I'll click on the Create Instance button to finish the setup. Our instances are now being created, let's wait a few moments. We can already see them listed here, and their status is currently Creation. Let's refresh the page to check the latest status. Both instances are now ready, and their status shows as enabled. Now, let's copy the IP address of the first server and open it in the browser. Here we go, we're able to access the Nginx web server, and we can see the hostname in the response. That means the post-installation script ran successfully. Now, let's check the second server. And yes, we got the response from the second server as well. Now, let's verify the SSH configuration. I'll copy the IP address of the first server and switch to the terminal. To connect over SSH, I'm using the P2211 option to specify the custom port we set in our script. We've successfully SSH'd into the first server using port 2211. And here, we can see the hostname, which confirms that our post-installation script worked exactly as expected. Let's exit from the first server and move on to the second one. We'll go back to the OVH console and copy the IP address of the second server. Then, just like before, we'll use the SSH command with port 2211 to connect. This will help us confirm that the script ran properly on both servers. We've successfully connected to the second server over SSH using port 2211. That means our post-installation script ran successfully on both servers, automating the setup just the way we wanted. OVH's post-installation feature supports not just shell scripts, but also Cloud Config scripts. Cloud Config is a format used by Cloud Init, a powerful tool for automating server initialization. With Cloud Config, you can easily perform tasks like creating users, installing packages, setting up SSH keys, and configuring services, all in a simple YAML file. Let's check a sample Cloud Config file and create a server using it. We start with the Cloud Config header, which tells the system that this file is a Cloud Init configuration. First, package_update, true ensures that the server updates its package list on first boot. Then, under packages, we're installing Nginx web server. Next, we define a new user called test user. This user is added to the sudo group, uses the bash shell, and is allowed to run sudo commands without entering a password. We can add SSH keys for the test user by placing a public key under SSH authorized keys. Just replace the placeholder text with your actual SSH public key. This setup lets you SSH into the server as test user using your private key. Next, under the Write Files section, we create a custom HTML page by writing the provided content directly to the default Nginx HTML file. Now, let's copy the Cloud Config script and create a server using it as the post-installation script. I'm using the same configurations as before, same server model, deployment mode, and region. I'll fast forward this part of the video since the steps are identical to what we've already done. For the server name, I'm entering Cloud Config Server. Now let's add the post-installation script that we have copied earlier. Click on the Add button, and then paste the Cloud Config script into the text box. Next, we need to replace the placeholder with our actual SSH public key. Let's switch to the terminal and use the cat command to display the public key. I've printed the SSH public key in the terminal. Now, let's copy the key and go back to the OVH console. Here, we'll replace the placeholder text in the Cloud Config script with the public key we just copied. Once that's done, we can continue with the setup, just like we did for the previous servers. I'll fast forward this part of the video until the server is ready. Our server is now ready. Let's copy the IP address and test if we can SSH into the server using the user we created. I'll switch to the terminal and run the SSH command. Here, I'm using the username test user and the private key that matches the public key we added in the script. We've successfully got SSH access to the server using the user test user. Now, let's run a few sudo commands to verify if the user has superuser access, as we configured in the Cloud Config. As you can see, the sudo commands run without any errors, which means the user has proper superuser privileges. Now, let's move on to the final part of our verification, checking the Nginx web server to make sure the full configuration from our Cloud Config script has been applied correctly. We'll head back to our browser, open a new tab, and paste the public IP address of our server into the address bar. We got the same web page we defined in our post-installation script as the response. This confirms that the script ran successfully, it installed the Nginx server, created the custom HTML file, and served it just as we expected. And that brings us to the end of this demo. We explored how to use post-installation scripts on OVH Public Cloud. We used both bash scripts and Cloud Config methods to automate server setup. From configuring SSH and users to installing Nginx and serving a custom web page, everything worked just as planned. I've added the link to the post-installation scripts used in this video in the description box below, so feel free to check them out. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more cloud and DevOps content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.